Alright, here we are in the unit. Now since all the information that we have is AC will not come on, doesn't cool, we're going to turn it on and see what happens. And this person has the J command unit, so we'll get it to there and turn it on and set it to cool. And I immediately hear so the compressor is running, no fan. Alrighty, so let me just turn that off again. So right now I can tell you 100% that's a capacitor issue. Now because it's warranty, they do still want the information, so I'm gonna have to get off of there and do the tests. And it's good that this type of air conditioner accessible from inside. If I'm fortunate, I should just actually be able to take this one out on my little ladder here and access it from inside here and do the measurements that way, which is exactly what I'm going to do. But before I do that, I'm going to take this cover off. Yeah, this one, I believe. Trying to get these things off with one hand is a real pain in the butt. Just see if I can. Yes, those are keys. There we go. Alright. Oh, no. There's the fan. No. So here's how we'll test and verify capacitor. Very quick and simple test for this, which you don't need to do all fancy tests. But it's coming on and... Ah! That's not even a capacitor, it was stuck. So in this case there may be nothing to do exactly. What I'm going to do is take a look up inside there and see if I find what it was stuck on. So let me get a couple things set up here and then I'll be back. Okay, so I got a light on there. Now, when this is off, because of what happened, when I touched this, it wasn't actually loose. There was something physically stopping it. Like it was physically being stopped from moving. It wasn't an issue of the capacitor, it did not feel like, because if it was the capacitor, so already I was wrong. 100% it's the capacitor, says I. So if it was the capacitor, this would have been free moving from the start. And then I would have had to have spin it and it would have started just like it did. But what you can't feel on camera is that this was physically hard to move for a moment, and as soon as I freed it, it spun right up. If it was a capacitor issue, it wouldn't have spun right up. It would have started slowly and then slowly built up because it doesn't have the capacitor to give it that kick to get going. So I'm just going to come back over here to the panel and turn it back on. And there she's running. So, as it turns out, we're going to go through a little bit of diagnostic here anyway, or rather just taking measurements, and since this air conditioner is working, it'll show what the measurement should be on a normal functioning system. So, I've got the filters off, and what I'm going to do here is take out the 4 screws in the corner, and that will get the rest of the white cover off. And then we'll go from there. So let's see if I can get the setup here. I'm not sure if my stupid little tripod will actually reach anything all the way up there. It really wants to fall over. Let's see if I can make some adjustments here. No. Seems to possibly work. All right. So the first thing that it wants is to get the current draw from the blue wire. Now, on the blue wire on the compressor, which I don't believe is going to be one of these here. That's going to have to be done on the actual motor side, outside of this. So, I got to take that horribly placed control box out of here. Not really sure who thought that was a good idea, but I want to get that moved out of the way and take a look at these wires here. See what you're looking at here. These ones, I do believe that's off the thermostat, it looks like. Yeah, going to the other side there somewhere. Let me get this moved out of the way here. Alright, well, I forgot to press record while I was removing that, but I got the bracket down. Well, that's the way it goes, but I got it down, and apologies about that. But now that the 4 bolts on the outside there are removed, the air conditioner itself will just lift right up and move off to the side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that moved up and over and set up the camera there so that we can go over these measurements and values. Alright, the AC's moved. Now obviously I've had to disconnect it, so I'm gonna what's gonna happen here is I'm gonna unscrew it, open it up. Let me just climb up here. My giant ass surprisingly fits through this. So I'm gonna maneuver it around so I can unscrew the screws there. There's, I don't know if you can see that because it's bright out and I can't see. There's a screw there, and then there's another 2 on the back side. And that'll let this whole cover lift off, and then give you access to the inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So a small correction, there's actually only this screw, 1 on the other side, and then the 2 on the front. There isn't 2 on the back. With those removed, the cover will open up nicely and give you a good reminder of why you might want to check up here regularly, because there seems to be a bit of a nest here, and I'm not sure how lively this one is, so I'm going to proceed with caution because I don't really know what's in there exactly. I don't see anything attacking me just yet. Might just be babies, so I'm going to sort this situation out because one of them's flying around, and I will be back shortly. Okay, so I dealt with the murderous pricks that we call wasps. Sprayed that. Got some wasp spray, dealt with the angry adults that were flying around. Obviously this needs, whoops, missed one. Okay, Obviously this has to be done on what is maybe one of the hottest days of the year. Certainly not the most, but of course, anyway. So I gotta get some readings. Which means I'm gonna have to measure like current and voltages from the motors and compressor. Well, mostly current. And also measure the capacitor, which is inside this box. So you can usually just take it, once you deal with your wash problem, you take this off and there's inside your unit right there. So I'm gonna have to move this around so I can plug it back into the control unit behind me. And I'm also gonna take this off here. Now, this is where I need to put up a disclaimer right about now, because everything up until now hasn't been dangerous. But because I'm a single person operation here currently, and I know what I'm doing and have been trained, this is not something that you should be doing unless you know what you're doing. So I'm not encouraging people to do this at all, because this is very dangerous, because I'm going to have the unit plugged in and powered, and I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff that's live, because it needs live readings, and because like I'm not going to run back and forth between this little hole that I'm squeezed up in to turn off a breaker when I know what I'm doing. So I just want to make that known, and this is not something you should attempt at home unless you know what you're doing. So please call a trained professional, you know, no matter who that is, if you're having an issue like this, or if you're having an issue that needs this type of measurement and troubleshooting. Please call it a professional. So I'm going to get this off here and get the unit moved around so I can plug it in, and we'll be back. Actually, before I turn this around and get myself contorted 5 ways from Sunday to do it, I'm going to measure this capacitor first. Now this is also dangerous. There's no power to the unit, but this capacitor could be charged and is dangerous if you get touched by it. They make devices to discharge them, but typically you just short it with a screwdriver. You know, it's not the greatest idea, but it works. So what we have here is actually a capacitor for it's 2 different capacitors in one. So you have one that's for the motor, the fan motor, and you have one that's for the compressor motor, and there's start capacitors in there. So you've got one common terminal and 2 separate charge terminals. I'm sorry for the terminology. I'm sure someone's going to correct me on that. So to get these little things off, though, there is a tab on them. So I can't really show it, but there's a little tab that locks them in, and if you find it, you pull it, it actually gets them off pretty easily. So there we go. So as you can see, there is, let's see, let's show it here. I don't know, it's hard to see. There is a little tab in there, and then you push it and it unlocks. So those are our commons right there. We got brown up here. And yes, I know I'm not using insulated tools. Again, I know what I'm doing. So I'm aware of the risk and, you know, what's involved. So now, just to test, I'm going to discharge it. We're good. Okay. Now, this will have values on the label. And what you see is, first, so it's 60 microfarad and 5 microfarad, and with a 6% tolerance. So, in order to test this, you don't need a fancy multimeter necessarily. I just unplugged my probes. I was thinking of something else. But you do need one that has a capacitance setting, which looks like that right there, at least on mine. And then what you will do is measure from, you'll put it across your common and your other terminal, which I'm not sure if this is making enough contact or if I can see because it's bright as hell out here. So this is pretty difficult. Let me see if I can focus on the gauge while I do this by hand. So yeah, you put it on there and it'll say overload briefly while it ranges. This, I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like it says 60.4. So that's good, and that's within tolerance, of course. And then we'll do the next set, which is also from there to there. And then auto ranges to, sorry if you can't see, 4.89. And there we go. So that capacitor is still good. So I'm going to write those values down there, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I got the capacitor back together and have it kind of set up here, you know, enough to let it run without being impeded underneath. I need to get the amp draw from the blue compressor wire, which will be this one. We'll also need to get the fan motor amp draw, which is going to be one of these wires here. So I'll put that back down for a minute. So it'll be just absolutely wonderful trying to get that one. I believe it's the red wire, one of the red wires. Yeah, red is low. Yellow and black is medium high. Medium and high. And white. So I would measure, gonna measure red and black because there's only high and low speeds on this. So I'm gonna have to go down and switch speeds anyway. So I need to measure blue, red, and black for current. So I'm gonna set this back up here, and then I'll go and turn it on and get measuring. All right, I got it running. I propped it up with a battery. I figured that was better since I almost fell off my ladder. Since I need to write stuff down. Okay, so don't actually need the probes on there for amperage in this case. So what we're going to do is you set it to current. In my case, it's set to DC initially, so I got to press the button and set it to AC. And this is a step I forget all the time, honestly. And then so I'll get the blue compressor wire first, lamp it just around there, like so. And it's telling me, I can't read this, so I'm going to have to set the camera down for a second. So I'm seeing 10 amps on that one. And then on the red wire, I'm seeing, again, I don't know if you can see it, but I gotta put the camera down here. Sorry, it was black, and it's 2.4 amps on the black. So 10 on the red, 2.4 on the black. Write that down. Now I'm going to go down and change it to low speed, fan speed, and measure the red one. Alright, so it's on low. Same deal, just get around just the red one there. Sorry about the quality, it's hard to see because of the sun and everything, so I can't see screens. That is reading 2 point, hang on again. Just about 2 amps on that one actually, so 1.9. Wants to know the voltage. I'm honestly not going to bother measuring the voltage from here, simply because I know it's getting 120. It's running full speed, it's running as normal. There isn't anywhere easily to get the voltage from here. You would have to test between, I do believe it's, what did it say up on the diagram? You'd have to just test between white and red, and black and red, and blue and red for the voltage on all of them. So you would have to actually like pierce or cut a wire here. I'm not going to bother doing that, as this is a functional air conditioner, so I'm just going through this to show the stats. So what I'm going to do right now is actually get her all buttoned back up since I'm done with this. And again, this is usually pretty easy. I'm not going to do it with it running. I could with 2 hands, but I'm going to get this all buttoned up here and get the air conditioner put back on and proceed further from there, because we're all done up top here. And again, if you're wondering why this needed to be done, well, we needed to see the wiring diagram, unless you know which wires, which I didn't offhand, and I needed to get pictures of stuff anyway. So this isn't just, oh, he went up there and did useless stuff. I needed to be here, so I made the video while I was here. All right. Got the customer's unit all back together, and we've got the measurements off there, tidied everything up, made sure everything was working, and turned everything off, left the customer's unit as I found it, including cleaning up the wasp and nest up there. Didn't want to leave that up there for them, and just left it up there while I was working so the wasps would think twice before coming around. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. As usual, if you have any ideas, if there's anything you want to see from me, let me know, and I'll do my best to get it done. This helped you out, share it along, helps me out. And thanks for watching.